Hi everyone, it's Mel here. Welcome back to another video and especially welcome back to another doggy video. Yes, it's dog time again. It is Saturday and this one, well, I hope you're not eating because this one is going to be all about poop. I'm going to be answering the question, how does a guide dog go to the bathroom? Hi, this is Mel Stevens. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My guide dog Darcy and I would like to teach you all about blindness. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and get all of my updates. There's a lot more to toileting a guide dog than you probably think. So unfortunately, this video may go on for a while, so please bear with me. So first of all, I'm going to say that all guide dog schools have a different way of their dogs toileting. Generally, it's the same. Generally, it's a command, established routine, picking up after them and that kind of thing. I am going to try and be as general as I possibly can. So all guide dogs will start learning to be house trained basically from the very beginning. Most of the time, if a guide dog school ends up with a pup that is incontinent for some reason, that dog won't make it as a guide dog because you can't have a guide dog toileting on public transport, in a shopping centre or anything like that. So essentially the dogs are trained from a very young age to go to the toilet when they hear a certain command. It might be do jobs, it might be busy, it might just be bathroom. With my guide dog organisation, which is Guide Dogs Victoria, which I have linked in the description down below, we use the word quick quicks. So our dogs from Guide Dogs Victoria know that when they are taken to a toileting area, be it some grass, some pine bark, anything like that, they hear that word and that's when they can go to the toilet. So guide dogs have an established what we call toileting routine, and that is something that you as your handler and the dog and your instructor will work on basically from the day that you get your dog. So an established toileting routine might look like getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, your dog doing ones and twos, taking your dog out for number ones at about lunchtime, so 12, 12:30, 1, that kind of thing. Taking your dog for ones and twos at 6 p.m. and then taking your dog for ones again at say 10 p.m. just before you go to bed. Most guide dogs can hold during the night, but if your dog is starting to get a bit older, for example, you might want to start getting up when you get up to go to the toilet at 3 o'clock in the morning and taking the dog out so that it's more comfortable, especially when it's a bit older. So the other thing with the toileting routine is to remember that those times are perfectly fine, but if you're at work or traveling or something like that, you need to remember to give your dog an opportunity to go to the toilet when you know that you're possibly going to miss an opportunity around the time of your scheduled toileting time. So for example, if you are going to a lunch meeting that is from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m, you might want to actually find a place where you can relieve your dog at 10:45 just before you go inside so that your dog is comfortable. And you'd want to do the same thing for public transport or flying or anything. Always give them the opportunity to go just before you go into an environment where they can't go. So that is probably the other thing that I need to point out is it's a good idea not to let your guide dog go to the toilet with its working harness on so that it doesn't get confused and begin to associate the working harness with toileting and therefore you start having problems where the dog is toileting when they're in their harness. So what you would want to do when you are relieving your dog when you are in public is get your dog to find some grass or a suitable relieving place if they know where there is one, or some established guide dogs will actually learn where they can go and will learn to pull you over to that place when they need to go. And when your guide dog does that and it's time for them to go, it is really essential that you take their working harness off and let them relieve without their harness on, because if you start relieving them when they've got their harness on, they could get confused as to whether they're allowed to relieve with their harness on or not, and you may have a situation where they start relieving in a shopping centre or something like that. So picking up after your dog is something that is very important. Most places, guide dog schools, etc. will tell you to use plastic bags with handles on them to pick up after your dog. And here are some I prepared earlier. So this is a roll of dog tidy bags. I'll try and find and link in the description down below a place where I get my dog tidy bags. So these are just bags probably around the size of a nappy sack, and they're on a roll and they've got handles on them. So what you would do if you were picking up your dog's poo is you would break one of the bags off the roll just by pulling it. You would undo the bag, shake it open. And then if your dog has done what it has to do, you would turn the bag inside out with your hand inside the bag, and you would pick up the poo and curl the bag back over with the poo in it, obviously, and tie up the bag and put it in the bin. Now, the other thing that we have here through Guide Dogs Victoria that I absolutely love, this is a godsend, I wouldn't have a guide dog if I didn't have one of these, is a toileting harness. So the toileting harness is just a basic black adjustable strap. You can get different coloured ones now. I think you can get green ones and pink ones, and I don't know what colours they are now, but I know you can get different coloured ones now. So it's basically just a black adjustable strap. It has, I don't know what those clips are called. It has one of those plastic clips where you have the two ends. One end has a flat bit and one end has three spiky bits, and you just push it in and it does up with a snap, and then you just squeeze the bits and it comes apart again. So it's got one of those clips. It has two little sort of stud things on one on either side of the clip, and that is where the handle of the bag goes. And then on the bottom of the harness it has a third like a bulldog clip, and this is where your bag actually goes. So I'll show you me putting on the bag, and then I'll show you Darcy with the bag on. So what you do is you would get the bag off the roll and shake it out, and then you would just clip the bag to the bulldog clip and then put it on the dog's rear end. What the harness looks like when it's on the dog. So it goes around his legs between in front of his front legs. The bag is hooked over his tail, and the bag is also hooked on the bottom of the harness between his legs. Off you go, click clicks. So when his harness is on, I say quick clicks, and he will go off and do his thing. Now, if I was staying in a hotel or relieving him in a place where I didn't have my own backyard, I would have him on a lead and go to the toileting place with him and just let him toilet on lead, but because I'm doing this in my own backyard at home, it's okay for him to be off lead, doing his quick quicks. So when he does his business, the harness does not catch the urine, it only catches the feces. And then I'll show you a little bit more in a moment. He's done. He's just come back with the bag on the back side, and all I'm going to do is just take it off, tie the bag up, put the bag in the bin, and then replace the harness onto where I keep it, and that'll be that part of the process all finished. So as you saw when Darcy went off and did his thing, I made sure that I praised him for doing what he was meant to do. It's really important that when they do go to the toilet in the correct place, at the correct time, you praise them. Now, something I need to point out is when your dog is working in harness, your dog will possibly, if they need to go, start showing signs that they need to go. So with Darcy, these signs include pulling, and when he starts to pull, if I know that there's no dog or anything else that distracts him off to the side, what I will say is, do you need to go wee-wees, or whatever I say. And if he responds by pulling me over to the nature strip, that usually means that the answer is yes. And so that is usually when I stop. I take his working harness off. If he thinks he needs to go number 2s, I take the toilet harness out of my pocket and put the toilet harness on, and then I just unclip his lead onto a long lead and tell him to go. It's very important, if your dog has been pulling or has been showing other signs, maybe slowing down, something like that, it's very important, if they have been doing that, to actually let them go. So if your dog has started pulling, for example, you don't know why, and they all of a sudden pull you over to the nature strip, it's really important to actually go, oh, okay, maybe he or she needs to go to the toilet. So what you would do in that situation is you would take their toilet harness, their working harness off. If you have a toilet harness and you know that they might need to go number 2, get your toilet harness out and put it on, and let them go to the toilet. It's really important, if your dog does pull you over to the nature strip and you know that they haven't been for a while and you've been doing a long walk or something like that, it's really, really important not to correct them and make them take you back onto the footpath and continue walking, because they may actually be needing to go to the bathroom. So that is it for this video. I've gone on for a very long time. I hope that you've enjoyed learning about how a guide dog goes to the bathroom. I hope that if you've got any questions, comments, or anything else that you would like to know about guide dog toileting, please let me know in the comment section down below. I will leave a link in the description to where I get my dog tidy bags, and I will also leave a link in the description to Guide Dogs Victoria. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!